What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to All Sports Talk with Peter Burtnett, and welcome to Super Bowl Sunday, one of the biggest days, if not the biggest day, at least here in the United States, on the sports calendar. Super Bowl will be watched by 100 million, probably 150 million people across the country. Most people's eyeballs will be fixed on the Super Bowl later tonight. But in this episode, I want to touch on the story of the two quarterbacks who will be starting. They're both making history. They have some pretty cool stories behind them, and one thing that I especially appreciated with both of them is that they are men of faith. If you haven't seen my Super Bowl preview, the link for that will be in the description below. But again, in this video, I want to dive into the backstories, the faith that drives both Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, and Jalen Hurts, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback. First of all, I already mentioned that they're making history, and I think it's even more special that, as it always is, the Super Bowl being in the month of February, Hurts and Mahomes will both be the first black starting quarterbacks to face off in the Super Bowl. And so it's pretty cool to see, I guess, assumption be disproven that African-American quarterbacks can't thrive in the NFL. And I think both Patrick Mahomes and Jalen Hurts have proven that to be very, very wrong. And so in this episode, I want to, again, dive into both of their stories, just to show the, pretty inspiring stories behind the both of them, and how they were raised by two, incredible, I'm sure, godly fathers, and who inspired them to lead Christian lives and to be outspoken about their faith. I want to start with, I think, Jalen Hurts, first of all, because most people that are even semi-NFL fans will know pretty easily who Patrick Mahomes is. And obviously people who are familiar with the NFL are going to know who Jalen Hurts is as well. But for those who don't know, Jalen Hurts was born on August 7th, 1998 in Houston, Texas. No similarity between both of these two is they're both from Eastern Texas. Obviously, it's a massive state, so they're actually pretty spread out. Mahomes is from Tyler, Texas, but both are from kind of Eastern Texas. Jalen Hurts grew up being coached by his father, Avarian, who was the football coach at Channelview High School throughout Hurts' high school career. And so Hurts grows up, becomes a really good quarterback, a highly recruited quarterback by the likes of Texas A&M, who he was strongly recruited by. They made a strong push to recruit him, but as we know, Jalen Hurts committed to the University of Alabama to play at first at least, under the offense of Lane Kiffin. So at Alabama, he competes to earn the starting role. He's able to get that in 2016, and he leads the team to the SEC championship game and to the national championship game, where the Crimson Tide lost 35-31 to Clemson. Then in his sophomore year, they go 11-1, losing the regular season finale to Auburn. They still were able to get in the college football playoff, where they cruised past Clemson, getting kind of revenge for the previous year. And then this is where adversity started to really set in for Jalen at Alabama. He obviously has had an incredible 2017 season, but had a bit of a rough first half. Alabama trailed 13-0, and Tua Tagovailoa came in, took over, and from there really took over the starting job. There was some playing time, very, very limited, but Hurts, kind of his last hurrah at Alabama, was coming in for an injured Tua to lead the Crimson Tide to the 2018 SEC championship. So he graduates with a Bachelor of Arts in Communication and Information Sciences in December 2018, and then he transfers to Oklahoma, and in his 1 year there puts up some pretty great numbers, just short of 3,900 passing yards, 32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, but he also finished second in the Heisman voting behind Joe Burrow. So a really, really solid college career. Then he gets drafted in the kind of late in the second round by the Philadelphia Eagles. Comes in in relief for Carson Wentz. 2020 season finishes with not very much stats, just over 1,000 yards passing. 2021, he leads the Eagles to the playoffs, passing for 3,100 yards, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, and they lose the playoff game. And then obviously this year, they have an incredible season. In games that he started, they went 14-1. Obviously was out for a couple games at the end of the regular season, but passed for 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, as I talked about in my Super Bowl preview episode, was just kind of a general for the team in the sense that he knows how to rally the troops, he knows how to lead the offense and maybe even the team as a whole. He's willing to put himself on the line for the good of his team and is highly efficient. Again, only 6 interceptions, not a ton of touchdowns, but is also able to get it done with his legs as well. Has rushed for an average of about 7, almost 800 rushing yards over the past 2 seasons, and also ran for 23 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. Off the field, he is also boldly declared during a post-game interview at one point that God is everything and he's worthy of praise. Something else that he said is that's something that I've just matured in and realized, that God is everything and he's worthy of praise. You have to put him in the center of everything that you do. And that's what I believe. I've been blessed to grow, learn things, and just mature. And I know God has been there the whole way. And so the story of Jalen, and it's pretty similar with Patrick Mahomes, but seeing that he had a father who was there to lead him and guide him through high school, and obviously life before then, being his coach in high school, and now Ryan Clark said this better than I could, just about how both of them kind of reversed the trope that black fathers are absent, and prove that is certainly not the case all the time. So both of the fathers, obviously Pat Mahomes, Patrick's father, was a pretty good baseball player, and that then will lead into Patrick Mahomes' story. So again, as I mentioned, Mahomes is from Tyler, Texas, born September 17th, 1995, so I think just about 3 years older than Hurts. He initially was playing football and baseball at Texas Tech, but after his sophomore year quit baseball and focused solely on football. He led the FBS in passing yards and total touchdowns with over 5,000 yards and 53 touchdowns, and he was selected 10th overall in the 2017 NFL Draft. And so he makes his first start in 2017 in relief of Alex Smith and led the Chiefs to a 27-24 win. But when he really took over is after the 2018 offseason, pretty much as soon as the season ended, almost on January 30th, 2018, the Chiefs traded Smith to the then Washington Redskins, and that thrust Patrick Mahomes into the starting role. And obviously over his career, in those 5 years since he took over, he's led the Chiefs to a 64-16 regular season record, so obviously racking up the wins. He's thrown for over 24,000 yards over those 5 seasons and has twice thrown for over 5,000 yards. He was the NFL MVP this year. He's thrown for 50 touchdowns once, 41 this year. For the most part, has limited his interceptions. He's still under 50 for his career, which at the pace that Peyton Manning started at, very, very efficient with the ball. He can also get it done when he needs to on the ground. He's rushed for over 1,500 yards in his career. But I think almost even more impressively on the field is his ability to, for the most part, win in the AFC. And I know even as a young player, that still, I would say, has a lot to do in his career. There's a lot of critics who would say, oh, he's never played a road game in the playoffs, or at least a true road game. And so that's something that his detractors would say. But at the same time, the other counter argument to that I've heard often is, well, he helps the team get to that point where they don't need to go on the road in the postseason. And I think both points are valid. I would side more with he gets it done in the regular season, and the other teams in the conference just can't compete with them to have those games played anywhere but Arrowhead. And again, he wins the Super Bowl in his second year in the NFL, 2019. Wins Super Bowl MVP. I know Damian Williams had a big game, but it's not like Mahomes was a slacker at all. I think he fairly deserved that Super Bowl MVP. So then he goes, a couple tough postseason exits over the last couple of years. One in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, where the Buccaneers defense just completely shut him down. And then last year in the AFC Championship game to the Bengals. But he delivers with 2 wins and is once again in the Super Bowl, joining Jalen Hurts. And like Hurts, Mahomes has also been outspoken about his faith. An article that I found talked specifically about a few players and staff members on the Chiefs who were, the article says, devout Christians. And so Mahomes was noted for his Christian beliefs from an early age, and has been outward about his faith. And he said that faith is huge for me. Before every game, I walk the field and I do a prayer of the goalposts. I just thank God for those opportunities, and I thank God for letting me be on a stage where I can glorify Him. The biggest thing that I pray for is that whatever happens, win or lose, success or failure, that I'm glorifying Him. And so I think that's pretty incredible. I especially like the part of that quote where he said, I just thank God for those opportunities, and I thank God for letting me be on a stage where I can glorify Him. He's not thanking God for being on a stage where he gets all the plaudits, or just even just keeping it simple, saying, God, thank you for putting me in this situation. But instead, he looks at it from a mindset that I think we all should look at things from, for those of us who are Christians, is that whatever situation we're in, whether we're at the bottom of the totem pole or whether we're at the top, we should always be grateful for where we are and do everything that we can to glorify God. Again, to circle back to the kind of overarching theme of this article, both Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes are making history as the first 2 black quarterbacks to ever face off against each other in the Super Bowl. They both have two incredible fathers who are examples of what all fathers should be, and they also are individually examples of how, even when you're at the height of fame and the height of success in a sport, and you can apply it to anything else in life, they both know what's important, and they keep themselves centered and grounded in their faith in God. That's it for this kind of special Super Bowl Sunday episode of All Sports Talk. If you've enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more like this. Comment below your thoughts on both of these 2 very talented and inspiring quarterbacks. But again, that's it for this episode of All Sports Talk. I'm Peter Burtnett, signing out. Peace.